Your bank account is about to become a crime scene, and you have less than 24 hours to do something about it. I know how that sounds. I know it feels like something you'd hear from a madman shouting on a street corner. But by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why Monday, January 12th, 2026 may go down as the most dangerous day for personal savings in modern financial history. And no, this is not clickbait. This is not fear-mongering. This is not speculation. This is mathematics. This is government documentation. This is the cold, mechanical reality that mainstream media will not explain because they cannot afford to trigger panic. Look at your calendar right now. Today is Sunday, January 11th, 2026. For most people, this is just another quiet weekend. Maybe you're watching football. Maybe you're scrolling your phone. Maybe you're planning your week, assuming tomorrow will look just like every other Monday before it. But while you sit there unaware, something enormous has already shifted behind closed doors. Global financial regulators have quietly activated a rule that legally allows banks to take your deposits and convert them into equity of a failing institution. Not in some distant hypothetical future. Not if things get really bad, but immediately, starting when markets open tomorrow. Your savings can now be legally repurposed as emergency capital. I'm Kenzo, and this is Boring Currency Archive. For months, we've been tracking something deeply unsettling in the silver market, a distortion so extreme it cannot persist. Right now, physical silver in Tokyo is trading around $130 per ounce. At the exact same moment, the screen price in New York reads roughly $71. That is not normal volatility. That is not arbitrage. That is not price discovery. That is a canyon, a $59 gap between physical reality and financial fiction. And tomorrow, that gap does not gently close. It snaps. Here is what almost nobody is telling you. The banks that are short silver cannot cover their positions. They owe more silver than physically exists in deliverable form on any exchange anywhere in the world. And the rule that activates tomorrow? That rule is their escape hatch. Their escape hatch is your money. Let me explain what changed. The 2026 Global Bank Resolution Framework officially prioritizes bail-ins over bailouts starting Monday. This is not a small policy adjustment. It is the complete reversal of nearly 80 years of financial doctrine that began after the Great Depression. For decades, the promise was simple. If a major bank failed, governments would step in, print money, and stabilize the system. Depositors were protected. Your money was considered sacred. That promise quietly died this weekend. Under the new legally binding framework, if a bank faces catastrophic exposure, say a silver short position that has exploded beyond any mathematical possibility of recovery, it is now required to convert unsecured deposits into equity. Your savings account becomes stock. Your cash becomes shares. Your life savings becomes survival capital for a bankrupt institution. You worked decades for that money. They gambled it away in derivatives. And now, the law allows them to take it. This is not theory. This is not interpretation. This is written policy. The timing is not accidental. In December, something unprecedented happened. According to the bank participation reports, the 4 largest American banks quietly flipped from net short to net long silver. They saw what was coming. They knew the paper manipulation game was ending. So what did they do? They handed off a massive short position, approximately 215 million ounces, to foreign banks in Europe, Canada, and Asia. This position is what insiders call the death bag. Those foreign banks are now short roughly 25% of global annual silver production, at the exact moment when deliverable inventory on the comex has effectively hit zero. Not low, not tight, zero. They owe metal that does not exist. There's no warehouse they can access, no hidden reserve, no emergency supply. Tokyo is already pricing silver at $130 because that is where physical reality collides with desperation. The New York price is maintained by contracts that cannot be settled in metal. Tomorrow, those foreign banks face margin calls so large they have only 2 options: default spectacularly or activate bail-ins and raid depositor accounts. Your deposits become their margin. Your retirement becomes their collateral. And it gets worse. China has effectively locked down 40% of the world's silver refining capacity. As of January 1st, Beijing issued 0 export waivers for silver and strategic metals for the entire first quarter. 0. 15% of global silver supply is now trapped behind what analysts call the red wall. China is hoarding every ounce for solar infrastructure, electric vehicles, and industrial expansion. They are securing their future while Western banks scramble for metal that simply cannot be sourced. At the same time, industrial demand has gone vertical. Samsung recently announced solid-state battery technology, requiring nearly 1 kilogram of silver per vehicle. That is a multi-thousand% increase in silver demand from a single sector. The U.S. Pentagon has also entered the market as an inelastic buyer, paying prices far above spot directly at mine gates in Mexico and Peru. Each Tomahawk missile requires massive quantities of silver. When national security needs metal, price is irrelevant. They don't negotiate with paper markets. They don't care about futures curves. They need atoms. The banks were praying for a supply miracle. That miracle isn't coming. China blocked it. Industry absorbed it. Military procurement hoarded it. There is nothing left. The new bail-in rule is not about protecting the system. It is about making you the source of emergency capital when the music stops. And tomorrow, the music stops. Now zoom out, because silver is only part of this story. At midnight tonight, the petrodollar era effectively ends. For half a century, global oil traded almost exclusively in US dollars. That arrangement recycled trillions back into American markets and kept the dollar artificially strong. Starting tomorrow, BRICS nations begin settling energy trades using gold-backed instruments and local currencies. That means trillions of unwanted dollars begin flowing back home. The result is not inflation. It is monetary flooding. Every dollar in your account begins losing purchasing power at accelerating speed. The government knows this. That's why surveillance fences are going up around your money. The Corporate Transparency Act and expanded bank secrecy provisions move into mandatory enforcement tomorrow. These rules strip anonymity from cash and physical assets. They want to know who owns what, where it is, and how it moves. Why? Because wealth must be trapped in the digital system to be taxed, tracked, bailed in, or confiscated. Physical assets terrify them because they cannot be deleted. And finally, Fed now moves into mandatory adoption across U.S. financial infrastructure. This isn't about convenience. This is the payment rail for central bank digital currency. The sequence is clear: break the system, trigger bail-ins, offer CBDC access as the only exit, total control. Total surveillance, programmable money. Tomorrow morning, expect chaos. Paper markets will strain under physical reality. Exchanges may invoke force majeure, settling contracts in cash, while real silver trades far above official prices. Two-tier pricing becomes permanent. They can print dollars. They cannot print atoms. Physics always wins. If you hold physical silver today, you have already crossed to the right side of history. Your metal has no counterparty risk. It cannot be frozen. It cannot be converted. It exists outside the system being constructed. Think of it this way. You're on a massive ocean liner. It's looked stable for years, but it's been taking on water for decades. The cracks are spreading. Suddenly, the captain announces a new rule. To ensure everyone's safety, all passengers must surrender their life jackets. The captain sounds calm, reassuring. But you notice something. He's wearing several life jackets under his uniform. So are the officers. They're collecting yours while hoarding their own. Tomorrow, the ship hits the iceberg. The banks are the captain. The bail-in rule is the confiscation. Physical silver is the life jacket. Make sure you keep yours, because tomorrow the water arrives. Stay informed, stay alert, and above all, stay stacked.